Okay, starting on the Hugelkultur terraces. I'm on top terrace, terrace 1. And so these are things from last year that have come back. That's all bee balm right there. There's some echinacea, which has been very happy with its position. And then I still haven't planted all this out yet, so I have a few things to get in. But ground cherry. This is a little blueberry. I don't know that it's happy there. This is one I got from a very small start and just didn't have a good place for it. I was like, yeah, I'll stick it there. And I don't think it's super happy. We'll see. We'll have to find another place for it. Onions mostly seem to be doing pretty well. I have a lot that are bolting, but they're getting to a bigger size than they ever have before, which is cool. That's a little okra just put out. Brussels sprout, I believe. All my brassicas were decimated by one thing or another. This year was just not having it. Okra, spinach. I actually just plucked a bunch of leaves off of that because it's about to bolt too. This is a habanada pepper, and I've got 2 of them out here, I believe. Oh, see, Brussels sprout, so sad. Okra, yeah, this one chewed up. I believe I have one more in the greenhouse I can replace one of these guys with if they don't make it. But I've been told if they make it through the initial bug fest, then they'll be stronger plants. Nasturtium that just reseeded itself. This is a pineapple sage, which clearly is not frost hardy. It is not coming back, so I need to cut that down. Let's see, this one is a poblano. I did plant some last year, and they got really large and did make a little bit of fruit, but I just planted them late, so they didn't have much of a chance. So hopefully this year they'll have a chance to get bigger. Some okra, and then my launching burgundy leaf blueberry that I got last year that was planted on Blueberry Hill over there is now here and seems much happier with its position. And it's got some maybe starting fruit on it. Not entirely sure. Yeah, I think it is. It's not a ton, but this is really its first year in the ground, fully in a better place anyway, so it may not make a lot of fruit. That's okay. Mustard, a little bit of garden sage there, and parsley, and it was going to seed even though this is its first year. But we had such extreme weather. I'm gonna guess that's it. All right, I'll try and get through the terraces. I do have a lettuce here, mullein that just freely turns up, and I let it turn up. Some English thyme, a little bit of dill, more lettuces. This is a Merlot lettuce right there. This is Sweet Valentine. That's a Merlot. Garlic, mustard. It looks like it's about to bolt. And there's a lot on this particular, on all the terraces. So glad I built these out, but I put a lot in here. Maybe too much, we'll see. It's all experimental. This little chive, already making some flowers, which is nice. And then these guys, it's a mix of indeterminates. This is a black cherry. You can see it's got a little bit of bug damage. I had planted a bunch of radishes in here. I think that pretty much all the radishes are going to seed. They're not turning into radishes, so that was a failed experiment. I planted them in the spring, and they were a little bit longer to mature, and so and because of the weather, again, I'm assuming this is a Brussels sprout, and I probably shouldn't have put these in because I don't think they're going to get to make any Brussels if last year's evidence is anything. That I believe is another black cherry. I think mostly what I have over here are black cherries. I did. There's a little guy. This is a red Brussels sprout. Looks like I have a carrot in there. But yeah, I started them late, got them out late after that hard freeze. So, we'll see. This guy, see, some of these I put little markers on, some of them I didn't to remember the variety. I'm pretty sure these are all black cherries, because I had multiples planted out. This is why I should have made a video right then. This is a black creme right there, so a bigger tomato. Some Brussels sprouts. I mean, they're pretty plants. And I have this little garden spinner, so I can't have a tomato right there. I have some volunteer critters popping up. That looks, yeah, a lot of ground cherries, pretty sure. Watermelon, a couple of watermelons, a bunch of ground cherries, which is funny because I actually didn't have ground cherries over here, if I remember right. My Brussels sprout looking really good. I think these are both cremes, black cremes. And Brussels sprout, one more tomato over there. It's definitely a creme. Some early crop kale, which is probably the only super healthy one I've got right there. I'm pretty sure all the peppers I have in here are purple bell peppers. And those, the front line, these are cauliflowers. You can see some of my favorite garden visitors on here. Just gotta relocate that little guy. Yeah. You can see the peppers are getting a little chewed on too, but they seem to be doing okay. And yeah, I just don't know if the cauliflowers and all are gonna make it. We'll see. I mean, it's been getting in the 80s here, so maybe so. I did plant, as I said, a bunch of radishes, hoping to have radishes. Nope, no radishes. I'll have radish seeds shortly. Some of my onions starting to bulb up there. If I have actual bulb onions, this would be a great thing. I have started using a lot of green onions, like for the ones that have it bolted. You can see there's a fair amount of them that have. But yeah, I just started pulling some to use for green onions, because there's no way we're going to get through as many onions as I planted. But I basically was planning for a lot of loss, because early on, I guess raccoons, because I don't think it was the squirrels, but they were digging them up and they were disappearing. So maybe onions, maybe raccoons, I don't know. But so I planted a lot of onions, and a lot of them ended up making it. And this is, I believe, a beet, maybe, that has survived. So my early spring crops, and I pretty much cut that down right there, was little spinach. All the early spring crops did not make it, more or less. There's almost nothing to show for it. So a couple of radishes in the front there, but mostly everything I planted after the big frost has been fine. So that was Terrace 1 and 2. Terrace 3, same thing, ton of onions. There's no way these are gonna bulb, but you know, and some radishes, same thing, going to seed. And these are the larger indeterminates. I have more, I believe these are crims on this side, and then green zebras down there. I did myself a little video. You can see this is what happens. I put a seed start in a little plant and it gets dug up and then eaten, and I dropped my phone. These are all a bunch of radishes going to seed. Crowd nut for my tomatoes. These are zebras, green zebras. Already got some flowers on them. So hopefully we'll have some tomatoes soon. And the front there, we will have all determinants. These are like Romas and San Marzanos. So I just run through in the front so you can see a better view of them. Put out a little artichoke. We'll see how that does. I popped them around. I have a volunteer peach tree. And I do have some bush beans in between. I've packed a lot in here, and so I might be slowing down production, but I figure, you know, if I can get as many plants in there as I'm trying to and get some yield out of them, then I'm doing okay. Here's the few cabbages that made it through the frost. There's one red and two green. And I actually moved these up, they were farther back. so they could have more sunlight. And yeah, same as the other ones. I don't think they're going to get to be much anything at this point, but I'm just going to let them be for a bit because tomatoes are already putting on flowers. It's mid-May, so you know. And then real quick, I guess I'll talk about the orchard. Peach tree doing great. I do have some wonky looking leaves, so I'm keeping an eye on that. It had some issues last year. The garlic I planted around the base looks like it's probably almost ready to pull. It's starting to die off some. Apple tree looking much healthier. It hasn't flowered. I'm guessing it probably won't. I think it's supposed to be like 3 years in the ground before they flower. The sages at the base looking pretty good, coming back strong. Same thing for the garlic planted around it, probably getting there. I did plant a bunch of, well, I started out with peas early on. Most of them died. A few survived. Those guys are just starting to put on peas. I got the first ones the other day. So I came back and planted some beans all along the fence here, and most of them, I mean, they're pretty bedraggled. You can see they're pretty bug eaten, but you know, we'll try and let them go, see what happens. And then here, this is some evening primrose I planted 2 years ago. It's turned into a whole patch. It was one tiny little clump of flowers, so I started transplanting some up front. Fig tree that we thought was dead came back from oblivion. Does have a couple little fruits on it, unless something, they either fell off or something ate them. I swear I saw baby figs on here, or maybe it's just wishful thinking. So it goes. Anyway, but it's alive. One day it'll make fruit. So yeah, peas finally starting to turn up. Hardy kiwi. I only have one, but this is supposed to be self-fertile. I'm probably going to get another one at some point, just because I understand they're enormous plants, so they might take up the entire fence there. Rosemary's starting to come back a little bit. This is another artichoke I put out. And I just am not finding the right place. I'm popping them in different places and just seeing. Although that one looks better than the other ones. And a Roman chamomile. And I think I will stop there.